I've been out all week with the biggest, most chunkiest of boys, the OM System 150 to 600 millimeters f5 to f6.3. It's the world's largest native micro four thirds lens, and it gives you a whopping 1,200 millimeters full frame equivalent zoom. Now, the weather has been challenging. Let's call it an ultimate stress test. The roof's going off. But what is life without a little adventure?
If I don't see a bird after getting up early and battling the cold, the police will be informed.
I'm really proud of some of the images that I managed to get, despite the inclement weather. So come with me on a fun-filled
I love
photography week with this lens. And there are only 1 or 2 mudslides to contend with. So let's get the obvious out of the way right up front. Yes, this lens is massive. Some will probably say that it goes against the grain of what micro four thirds is, which is usually small, compact, and affordable. This is pretty affordable for what it is, to be fair, and there's some excellent offers on, which I shall talk about in a bit. But what makes this lens unique is just the sheer amount of zoom it gives you. 600 millimeters, 1,200 millimeters in full frame terms, and it will even take the OM System teleconverters, the 1.4 times or the 2 times, which would make it even more ridiculous.
A little bit of a size difference.
He's just there, on his own, in the middle of a nest, chilling. So that is about as close as my other lens could get, and then I can go to here. Is that what he's doing? Is he fishing through? I think you're right. He's like, oh no. Maybe not. Maybe next time. So while it may be a chunky boy, there really isn't very much quite like it. I took it to the Faroe Islands last year, also with the OM1 Mark II, which is what I've been using this week, and the sharpness blew me away, the stabilization blew me away. It's a really cool lens if you can get over the sheer blooming size of it. In the Faroe Islands, I was blessed with some sunshine, which definitely played to this lens's strengths considering the aperture. This week in November in the UK, I had some of the grimmest, darkest, stormiest weather, but I like to think that this is an absolute stress test for this lens. If I've managed to get some clean, sharp images in these conditions, then just imagine what it can do in good light. And after having pixel peeped these photos, I have to say I'm quite impressed with the high ISO performance of the OM1 Mark II. These images have cleaned up really nicely. One fun, happy problem to have with this lens is there's just so much zoom. Sometimes you find yourself shooting at the widest setting of the lens, and I don't know about you, but I've never had to do that when I've been doing bird photography before. Usually it's like, give me all the zoom you've got and more, please. And the other thing that's quite funny is sometimes when you are zoomed fully in, it's very easy to lose your subject. So you sometimes need to sort of roll it back and make the focal length wider and then zoom in on your subject and find them in the frame. So day one was a challenge, but I'm really glad that I went out and I did get some good photographs. I had one very stubborn bird that just refused to move, and that's where I found the stabilization really come in handy in this scenario. Because this lens isn't a pro lens, so you don't get the higher burst rate modes like you will on Big White, for example, but you do get Sync IS with the OM System cameras, which will give you up to 7 stops of stabilization. Now this is wonderful for video. Even at the absolute longest end, I got some video that I really am proud of, but more so if you are waiting for a while following a subject, keeping that really steady in your viewfinder makes for a much more pleasant experience. And this bird made me wait. You're just not gonna move, are you? If you move now, I'm gonna phone the police. Yeah, let's go get a coffee and see if he's still there when we get back. The bird is still here. Okay, it's gotta fly at some point, right?
We're trying to think now if all the birds over there are the same ones that were here when we arrived and they just never move. Right, the bird is literally looking at me now. It's goading me. I think this video is me just harassing one bird for like 20 minutes.
There are other birds available.
I don't think he can fly. I think he's stranded on it. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to assume that it's never gonna fly again.
We've got a nice portrait of him.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do the good old trick of how low can my shutter speed go?
So when the subject is really static like this, you can use the stabilisation in the lens and the camera to just experiment with how low you can get your shutter speed, and then you'll get something really, really clean. You'll hit the point where it'll get blurry, but yeah, I just slowly ramp my shutter speed down, and then I know that one will be clear in the edit. And the lens has so much zoom, I keep losing the animal. Here we have it at 2500th, which is ISO 10,000, which is sharp but super duper noisy. Then I tried 800th of a second, which got the ISO down to 3200, and I think that's the sweet spot. And then 250th, sometimes you could get hits, but generally the feathers were a little bit too blurry. So I settled with some portraiture for that particular bird, but I did get some birds in flight on day one, and as always, I am so blown away by the tracking capabilities of the OM1 Mark II.
Jeez, that's like 100% hit rate. That's just stupid. Whenever I use this camera, I'm just like, this is stupid. How are you this good? Like, I love it when I'm doing something wrong and the bird goes out of frame and the camera's like, oh, I got you, it's fine.
I'll sort it.
There's an inch of wing in the frame.
And it's in focus.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of like aesthetics and you know, I don't think these photos are amazing, but in terms of how the camera tracked the subjects, I think it's super impressive. It's just hit after hit after hit. And I was shooting in all mode as per usual with the OM1 Mark II. I often find it's just easier to let the camera decide because it does a really blooming good job. Throughout all of these burst modes, there is not one miss. And that was absolutely my experience in the Faroe Islands as well. I got hit after hit on the puffin photos. So while this lens may not be for everyone, I do think it's quite heavy at 2.2 kilograms, but if you are a weekend warrior and you love a bird hide, or even sports or anything that needs a lot of zoom, this could be really good bang for buck on the system. So there's loads of great offers on at the moment for the winter OM system sale, and I think this is the most fancy pants one that they've done in the history of these things. It's crazy. You can get £1,100 cashback when you buy the OM1 Mark II and the 150 to 600mm lens. And, but wait, there's more. You'll get an extended 5-year warranty on both items as well. So if either of these things has been on your radar for a while, there is no excuse now. This is a really good time to buy. There are offers on loads of different OM system products as well. I just wanted to highlight this one while I'm using it. And there are also offers on in the EU and the US as well. Check the link in the description after this video, of course, and see all the cool offers that they have on. It's actually like really, really tempting. So back to the lens. I think what is quite a negative to this lens, or at least something that you need to keep in your mind, is it is not internal zoom. So the two white lenses on the system, the big white and little white as I've called it, they all focus and zoom internally. So when you're in a bird hide waiting for something to happen, you can zoom in and out without it knocking your balance off. I found in day 2 in particular that the top of my lens was coming out of the bird hide really far. Like, I was so engrossed in what I was doing, I didn't realise how far my lens was protruding out of the bird hide.
I think I'm actually like poking the birds in the face with the barrel of the lens.
The other thing that internal zooming really helps with is if you are tracking a bird in flight, when you are zooming in and out, in those fast-paced moments, you don't have to worry about the weight distribution changing. It's certainly something that you can get better at with practice. It's not the end of the world, and certainly you save a heck of a lot of money with this lens versus any of the white ones, but it is something to bear in mind.
And I thought the weather was bad yesterday. It looks like we're cursed this week. We've done what I can only describe as abseiling to get to this bird hide. Even wet birds are hungry, right?
I hope so.
You'd hope.
Me and my tireless, beautiful friends, Rachel and Rebecca, both Micro Four nerds as well. That's what we're shooting on. We've got G92 at the end.
G-Daddy.
Yes, we have a original OM1, and then the OM1 Mark II, and torrential rain. And no birds. And we sat in this tiny little bird hide and felt like the roof was going to come off, and we had so much fun. The gentleman who owned the bird hide, and I'll put the name of the bird hide in the description as well, it was in Glossop, it was very cool. He mentioned that, like, you know, with the weather being so bad, it might be hit and miss, but we thought we'd give it a go anyway. And honestly, within 5 minutes of being in the hide, we were visited by a woodpecker.
There's one on the floor. There's loads on the floor.
The woodpecker's on that concrete post at the back. You can just see his head through the hole. I can't believe we've had so much activity. I was expecting none. This is the most well-fed woodpecker.
They're extremely flappy in this window.
Oh, the woodpecker's still there.
Yeah.
The massive arrow pointing to his head. I'm here!
Literally. Here is the woodpecker. Follow the arrow.
Yes. Are you up to fly?
Oh, okay, I was very late off that, but I've got Pro Capture on, so it should do it for me.
Oh, amazing.
Oh wow, I like that one where the wings are in.
I'm not even at a high enough shutter speed at 2,000, am I? Should be at more. Yeah, I'm already at 12,000.
Highest.
Okay, we're going up. I'm going up. I'd rather have noise than blur.
At some point, the wind got the better of the birds and they were literally being blown away. And I'm so glad that I persevered because I'm really happy with a lot of these photos. Not to fob this off as a bird in the wild, because that would be very, very disingenuous. The gentleman that owns the bird hide has this hawk as a pet, and we managed to get some portraits of the bird as we were leaving, and it was really cool in the rain. It looks so epic. One great feature on the lens is it does have a locking switch. So the lens will go from smooth to tight to locked. And when you're walking around, the locked position stops it from extending too far, and that's great. Sometimes I go back to use the lens and forget that it's locked and it catches me off guard. This lens is fully weather sealed, super rugged, and it has the updated OM system coating on the lens, which helps to repel water, which despite even having the lens hood on, because the tip of the lens was outside of the hide and it was raining sideways, it was actually still a factor. So the coating on the lens is very, very good indeed. And it also helps with haze as well. I think it's quite hard to visualize just how much reach 1200mm equivalent gives you. And I found this clip from last year's video that really demonstrates it brilliantly. The puffins were absolutely miles away, it felt like dots on the horizon, and yet through this lens you could see them really well. So the zoom on this is so novel and fun to play with. Like, we had a dog with us, Ziggy, when we were shooting on day one, and there was one point where the dog was a moderate distance away and I just wanted to get some portraits of Ziggy, and there was just too much zoom. I just managed to get this photograph of his face that's just filling the frame entirely. However much zoom you've used in the past, even if you've used like a 100 to 400 for example, this is extraordinarily fun and quite different. So is this lens for everyone? Definitely not, but it might be for you if you are a weekend warrior, a bird photographer, a sports photographer, anything that needs that extra bit of zoom. And with the OM1 Mark II, you get excellent tracking as well. It's a match made in heaven. So if anything in this video has caught your eye, or you've been looking at OM system products in general, now's a good time to check out their winter sale, because they've got loads of extended warranties, cashback offers, and all of that goodness as well. So check out the link in the description. And if you'd like to check out some more cool things that OM system cameras can do, I did an entire video on live composite mode and also an entire video on live ND as well, which I'll also link in the description.